Hello everybody, my name is Jesse and this is the Japanda channel. Today we're going to talk about how to get a job as an English teacher in Japan from the perspective of a non-native English speaker. Now of course, this video is going to be helpful for people who are native speakers of English that want to get a job in Japan as an English teacher. But this video is mainly targeted at people who are non-natives of the English language. Because let's face it, there's not a whole lot of resources on the matter for us non-native speakers. But here I am to tell you that you can do it. That's right, you non-native speaker person, you can work in Japan as an English teacher. I'm a Mexican citizen, alright? Here you go. But a Japanese company hired me as an English teacher. Now I'm not in Japan just yet, but I'm dealing with all the visa documentation right now and I will probably be there next month. And so, I would like to share with you all information and tips and tricks that I have gathered from this process of applying to Japanese companies as a non-native English speaker. A lot of people say that it's impossible to get a job as an English teacher in Japan if you're not a native speaker. You'll see that in forums, you'll see that in websites, you will almost never find a job ad on gaijinpod.com or similar websites that explicitly say that they would hire non-native speakers. But the fact of the matter is that it's possible, and there's a lot of non-native speakers in Japan teaching English. Now it's a little bit tricky though, because usually you would have more chances of getting hired as an English teacher in Japan if you're already in Japan, because you have a lot more options about companies that you can apply to. But if you're applying from abroad and you don't live in an English-speaking country, things will get very difficult for you. This is mainly because companies hold interview events at English-speaking countries. If you do not live on these countries, then it'll be almost impossible for you to try to get to a different country just to get an interview. So then you're limited to apply to companies that hire people internationally through online interviews, like through Skype or something like that. And there are not a lot of them. Now let's get into the requirements you need to get a job in Japan as an English teacher, as a non-native speaker. And it all boils down to two simple things: English fluency and a university degree. Stay in school, kids. There's absolutely no way around getting a degree. If you do not have a degree, the government will simply not give you a visa, period. That's everything you actually need to get a job in Japan as an English teacher. The rest is up to what Japan can see on paper about you. Who you are, where you're from, where do you live, what jobs you've had before, as well as your credentials as an English teacher. Now the following are some things that can help your case to make you a valid contender at the moment the employer is looking at a huge pile of resumes on his desk. So before even getting contacted for an interview, the recruiting person at the company is going to have to go through your resume. And that's the most important part of the interview process. As soon as the recruiter sees that you're not from an English-speaking country, that's gonna raise red flags. Now this is the exact moment when the recruiter will hold your resume in his hands and rip it apart in tiny little pieces and throw it in the trash. I'm just kidding. Now if you want to avoid that situation though, you have to have some credits in your resume that is gonna make you look like a potential candidate for the English teaching job. One of the things that can help you a lot is being able to show that you have lived in an English-speaking country for a long period of time, especially if you attended university in an English-speaking country. For example, in my case, I finished my high school studies as well as my university studies here in the United States. And I think that boosted my chances a lot in getting companies to notice me and put me in a somewhat even standing with native speakers. Next, English teaching certification. Now you will hear a lot around the web that having English teaching certification is not necessary, and it is actually not required by the companies, but that applies mainly to native speakers of the language. You, as a non-native speaker, will need all the help you can get on your resume so you get companies to notice you. This is why I highly recommend that you get an English teaching certification. Now there's a lot of English teaching certificates around. There's the TEFL, the CELTA, the TESOL, and all that stuff. Now you can take any of those and it'll help your chances a lot. I actually have the TEFL certificate, and I think that was really helpful to beef up my rather empty resume. The point I'm trying to make is try to have as many things on your resume that can attest to your English speaking ability as you can. Now if your English speaking fluency is pretty high, you could take on English teaching jobs in your own country, and that'll help your chances a lot as well. In my case, I had an online English teaching job for a while, so I was able to add that on my resume as well, and that also boosted my chances. Now I was debating on whether or not to talk about this, but here's another point, and that is looks. It's a sad fact that Japan cares a lot about looks when trying to decide on whether or not to hire somebody. In short, if you're white, you have better chances, alright? That's all I'm gonna say about that. But fear not, brother or sister, there's all kinds of people teaching English in Japan, of all colors and all races. So don't lose hope just because of your race, just apply, and don't give up. Now, as an English teacher at a school, your job entails that you're going to be in a room surrounded by little kids. So employers want to see that you have a very cheerful personality, or genki, as it is called in Japan. This means that throughout your whole interview process, and especially during your whatever it is, a phone interview or a video call interview or in-person interview, you have to appear very cheerful, very enthusiastic person. Especially if you know that the company that you're applying to handles a lot of classes where you're going to have to teach little children. Be cheerful, be enthusiastic, be genki, just don't become a fucking cartoon. You want to show these companies that you can handle children, but you still want them to take you seriously. So to recap, what you need is university degree and English speaking fluency. What can help you? Time living in an English speaking country, completing a university degree in an English speaking country, English teaching certification, and having a very genki personality. Now, I found getting a job in Japan being extremely challenging. I applied to all of the big English teaching companies in Japan, and I heard nothing from anybody but like a couple companies. But eventually, another company contacted me. A company that I had applied to like 3 months prior, and I got hired. So if my English is this bad and I got hired to teach English in Japan, so can you, non-native speaker sitting on the other side of the screen. You just have to be patient and don't give up. Just keep trying, keep applying to companies, keep boosting your resume, keep adding to it, and eventually it'll happen for you. Anyways guys, this is gonna be it for the video. If you have any questions or you need me to elaborate on anything, just let me know in the comments below and I'll get to it as soon as I can. I'm Jesse, this is the Japanda channel, and I'll see you on the next one.